Hello and welcome to Soulful Thoughts from New Zealand. This is Meghan Don, mentor, death and dying guide, and author of Dying into Love, A Sacred Journey for the Body and Soul, and Feminine Courage, Remembering Your Voice and Vision through a retelling of our myths and inner stories. Well, happy spring season to those who are in the southern hemisphere, and blessed entry into the fall season for those in the northern hemisphere. I have been consumed of late with the creation of my tiny home. As this is the first time I have entered into the building process, it has been a definite learning curve, and what everyone says is true. New builds always take much longer than you think they will, and they will always go over budget. There are so many considerations when creating a living space that reflects who you are and what will serve your living on this earth. Plus, then there is the earth herself and how to best align with her and the building. I have realized how much I have taken for granted being a renter all my life, as I have been used to simply unpacking my bags and creating my sacred sanctuary with my personal and sacred things. So I've been reflecting on home and what it means. There are so many nuances. For me, home feels very, very sacred. Many of us on the spiritual path will often refer to home as another dimensional reality that we have come from. I know myself in times of great challenge on this earth, the words that escape from my lips are, "I just want to go home." And then, of course, we have the physical buildings we call home, though my word is always sanctuary for my dwelling. So in reality, home is not only a physical place, nor is it only in another dimension, and home is not a destination. Ultimately, home is love. Home is right here. Home is inside each one of us. When we know this, then our outer surroundings can reflect our inner realization of home. Too often we put all our energy into the outer environment without shoring up the inner landscape. Or there's a discrepancy where they're not matching. I remember many years ago renting a beautiful home in Melbourne, Australia, which came to me in a magical way. It was perfect for me on every level. I was working by day, writing by night, and having furniture specially designed for the new unique space it was. After 3 months of intense work, sleeping only a few hours each night, I held my housewarming party. It was a fabulous evening. The next day, the whole house burned to the ground. The only things that survived the fire were my spiritual icons and statues, the dirty plates from the party the night before, and the beautiful lead light front door. I got to say, I was totally devastated. And even more so when someone came and stole the door a day later. I found it at that time very hard to process all that had happened. especially since it was divinely orchestrated for me to be there. I just couldn't reconcile how this could be. How could this be divinely given to me and then so abruptly, and it felt quite brutally, taken away so quickly? So I couldn't find out how these two could live together. Fortunately, a very kind gentleman taught me the value of both and in life, and not just either or. So it is entirely feasible that there can be a divine direction, and it may not unfold as you anticipate, and may be much shorter lived than you expected. What we tend to do, of course, is question the whole thing when it falls apart, especially when we are so sure of something and it seems so perfect. Teresa of Avila, the great Spanish mystic, experienced the same thing over and over in her life, where she would be guided to undertake certain projects or to go to certain places and create new monasteries, and then it would all just fall apart. And so she would sometimes get actually very depressed and anxious at these outcomes. However, afterwards, she said she would not change these experiences for anything, as she learned so much from them. And she especially learnt to surrender, completely surrender, and to trust that all would be taken care of one way or another. And it may not be in accordance with the understanding of how she thought it should be taken care of. So I know now that I would respond very differently to my home burning down, though I do hope it won't happen again. It is quite a traumatic event. The other thing that I think many associate with home is the notion of belonging. John O'Donoghue, in Eternal Echoes, one of his books, Celtic Reflections on Our Yearning to Belong, says, "The hunger to belong is at the heart of our nature." The hunger to belong is at the heart of our nature. Cut off from others, we atrophy and turn in on ourselves. The sense of belonging is the natural balance of our lives. There is some innocent childlike side to the human heart that is always deeply hurt when we are excluded. When we become isolated, we are prone to being damaged. Our minds lose their flexibility and natural kindness. We become vulnerable to fear and negativity. I know a number of people who do not feel they belong, either to this earth or where they are currently physically living. But all those people, I know, seek the following things. And again, this is by John O'Donoghue. The ancient and eternal values of human life: truth, unity, goodness, justice, beauty, and love are all statements of true belonging. They are also the secret intention and dream of human longing. So all these ancient and eternal values are all statements of true belonging. Now, for my own self, when I am encountering the opposite of these values, I know for sure that that is when I feel I do not belong. When truth is compromised, when unity dissolves into division, when goodness takes a back seat, when justice is absent, and beauty and love are so far away. This is when I don't belong. And it can also make me at times feel immensely sad and heavy, because it is the exact opposite of home. It is the exact opposite of belonging. Now, I've always carried a kind of sadness within me, a type of melancholy, along with a lot of joy, I might add. And we could say this is merely because I am under the ruling planet of Saturn, but I think it is more. I think there is an inherent sadness experienced when those ancient and eternal values of human life are not being lived, either by myself or by those around me. And I find it so interesting that John O'Donoghue says that these statements of true belonging, hence for me, that also means they are energies of home, energies that we need to feel daily in order to navigate our way through the myriad of worldly experiences. I'm very much looking forward to moving into my new home and blessing it with these ancient and eternal values, leaving their opposite at the door, and once more creating the sanctuary that so beautifully holds, nourishes, and inspires me. My home will be called the Sanctuary of Sophia, meaning the Sanctuary of Wisdom. This is and will be my home, both the inner and the outer home. I pray that each of you are blessed with home, with belonging, with wisdom. And this month I have 2 invites for you. The first is an interview with my dear sister, friend and colleague Simran on her very popular 1111 Talk Radio, The Voice of America. This will go live on air at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on September the 17th. However, you can listen in any time as it will be recorded. We will be speaking on dying into love, coming into the presence of love, and remembering how to die. And given the conversations with Simran and I, who knows what else we'll be talking about. So do join us. It is always a fabulous and enlightening conversation with her. So you can see the link given or look on my website, megandon.life, for more info. And the next invite is definitely not to be missed. Crones, Hags, and Elder Wise Women of Power, a free summit running from September the 24th through October the 1st. Over 30 elder women will be speaking on a wide range of topics, but all with the focus of reclaiming the power and wisdom of elder women. I will be speaking on September 29th on the sacred memory of dying. So do register, it's free, and tune in. Again, look for the link on my website, megandon.life. So I wish you all a wonderful month. May you have some rich contemplations on home and belonging. May the ancient and eternal values find their home in you. Be beauty, be love, be justice, be goodness, be unity, be truth. I look forward to joining with you all again next month. Ar Hanui.